Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentlelady from Florida, Ms. Lee, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Myers, your root cause analysis attributed this global IT outage to a failure in your validator tool. However, it seems like another important contributing factor here was closely related to how you released the software update. So I'd like to go back to the topic of a phased rollout approach. I believe you were describing this change when you used the phrase concentric circles. But starting here, was this update pushed out in a phased way?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. First, let me state that the configuration update that occurred, the content update, was not code. This was threat information that was being provided to the sensor. The code is pushed out, and that is the sensor itself, had been pushed out using a phased deployment methodology where the code would go through extensive quality assurance and quality checks. It would then be deployed internally in what we would call dog fooding. And then from there, it would be rolled out to customers who could select a N-1, N-2, meaning that they could wait some set period of time before they would actually roll out the new sensor. This sensor was rolled out in February of 2024. The content updates are not code. They had not previously been treated as code because they were strictly configuration information. What we have undertaken since the July 19th incident, what I referred to earlier in the testimony, is that we are now treating the content updates as code, which is something that I don't believe to be an industry standard at this time. By us treating that as code, it is now going through that process of, again, the internal testing or dog fooding before it goes to early adopters, general availability, and then the N-X strategy.
Thank you for that distinction. Would you agree that in this case, while it may have been a content update, clearly the failure to have it implemented or take effect in a phased approach ended up being catastrophic?
We've moved to a phased approach as a result of the incidents of July 19th, and we've put a lot of time and effort into making sure that that phased approach will ensure customers have the ability to choose when and how they receive those updates.
Going back to the ranking member, in his comments, you two were discussing the fact that CrowdStrike has really extraordinary access into the kernel of the operating system. And you all were talking a bit about the risk versus efficiency of having this kind of access and making updates within the kernel. Share with me your thoughts on whether this incident could have been averted or future incidents could be averted by using the user space for this kind of update.
Thank you for the question. The kernel, as I said, provides the visibility, the enforcement mechanism, the telemetry and visibility, as well as the anti-tamper. So I would suggest that while things can be conducted in user mode from a security perspective, kernel visibility is certainly critical to ensuring that a threat actor does not insert themselves into the kernel themselves and disable or remove the security products and features.
So is it your assessment then that it's not possible really, in realistic terms, to do it outside of the kernel?
With the current kernel architecture, this is the most effective way to get the visibility and to prevent an adversary from tampering with security tools.
So it's the most effective way, but it's not the only way possible.
It is certainly the industry standard to use the kernel for visibility, enforcement, and anti-tamper, and to ensure that you can stop a threat.
So you've testified thus far that you've made modifications to the phased rollout approach and also the pre-deployment testing. What other modifications has CrowdStrike made or changes to your internal practices to avert future similar incidents?
Sorry, push the wrong button. That is the primary changes that we've made. We've come up with an entire new mechanism by which we distribute the content updates. Again, making sure that customers have in their control the ability to select when they receive those updates is what will prevent that from happening.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.